Another week of Bleach and another banger episode. I mean, they just keep knocking it out each and every weekend. This is Bleach. Bleach has been around for a very long time, and there is a reason why Bleach was part of the big three back in the day, and it continues to be a big and strong contender even to this day and age. Yet this episode we had Rukia popping off and actually getting Bankai, which is pretty interesting because the fact of the matter is when she was introduced to in this show, in the very beginning, the first few episodes, she was kind of one of the weakest, if not the weakest character. I mean, yes, she had to give some of her power over to Ichigo, and then of course that's when Ichigo was the Soul Reaper, and you know the story. We later learned the reason why she was so weak is because of Aizen's influence, but yet and still, here we are. She is back and ends up getting one of the strongest Bankais. Like, I can't believe how strong her Bankai is in the aspect of turning literally everything around her to absolute zero, even below absolute zero, to be honest, and just insta-killing, insta-freezing things around her. It's very reminiscent of the ex-Captain Commander, how he was dealing with fire, and fire will be everywhere. And if you remember when he did his Bankai, how he sucked the moisture out of all of Sarate, and yet now she's surrounding everything in ice, brittly cold ice, which is so amazing that she has this power. And this poor Stern Ritter, he wanted to fight Byakuya so bad, but I'll be honest, personally, if it wasn't for the fact that the Stern Ritters had the power to steal the Bankais, which is the strongest form of these captains, or even Soul Reapers in general, honestly, I think Byakuya could have killed him when they first met. He'd be so dead. It would not have been a contest, because it already was a fight that was getting pretty close, and then next thing you know, he's like, all right, Bankai, but then it gets stolen. And it's really good though, because even Byakuya said in this fight, hey, thanks for stealing my Bankai. I learned more about my Shikai, which if you saw this episode, you saw how even in Shikai form, it was just an absolute curb stomp that Byakuya was doing against this guy. And Byakuya wasn't even taking this fight seriously. He was like, you know what? I'm just coming to help my sister out. And for those that don't know, technically they're not brother sister, they're more like brother-in-law, sister-in-law, because Byakuya was married to Rukia's sister and she died and then took Rukia in, so now they're kind of, but anyway, that's a side thing. If you don't know the story of Rukia by now and you're watching this, hey, maybe you're just getting in this series right now, but that's kind of the backstory. Now you can tell that Rukia is not well versed in her Bankai. Now granted, this moment here where she almost lost her hand, i.e. fingers, because of how her own body gets below zero and her whole body temperature and how she's able to manipulate her body temperature and such, this is all new to her. She was, of course, before she went to go train and get healed, she only really knew Shikai, but she is just now learning Bankai. And the fact is, she can only do this for a couple of seconds. Like, she literally just casted Bankai, nuked the guy, and then a few seconds afterwards, she's about to lose her hand. So there's even more extensive training that Rukia is going to need, because honestly, several different Bankais of the captains, really what makes them a captain is the fact that, yes, not only did they know Bankai, but they've trained with their Bankai for a while, so then that way they know how to utilize their Bankais against enemies. And that's why some lieutenants are now knowing how to do Bankai, but yet they are not practiced in it. And thus, the same with Rukia. And even as Byakuya is saying, her Bankai is super dangerous because it not only affects her enemies, but affects her. Like living in a state where you are pretty much ice, but yet to function, you need your body to run. It's very dangerous. Even when she was running Shikai against Stern Ritter F, she had to control her own body temperature. And it took a while for her to get into that state. As she said, hey, I just was waiting a moment. And then it took a while for her to raise back up to her regular body temperature. So all of this is new for her. It's very much new for her. But just imagine, given time, and she's able to stay in the state for a longer period of time and actually fight in it, it would literally be like the Captain Commander, how he is dealing with fire. She just, in turn, deals with ice. She could be a real force to reckon with, because if she's able to live freely with her body temperature being so low, then no one really will be able to stop her, especially if, just like the Stern Ritter, she's able to insta-freeze them. Any ability, or even their bodies, they're just insta-dead. That's a strong Bankai. It's basically an insta-kill. One of the things that actually comes to mind is Hitagaya, another ice user. And to me, her utilization of her powers is going to definitely be different from Hitagaya. Hitagaya uses ice as a tool, as a means, if you will. His sword is pretty much like an ice dragon, and he utilizes that ice dragon with his movements and with his powers, and of course making ice towers and stuff like that. He himself is not turning to ice. Rukia, it's like an ice fairy looking ice princess, and like I said before, her power is dangerous because she herself is turning to ice. Yet maybe in the future, when she has her Bankai under control, she would be able to utilize ice as a means as well. And I actually, if I was her, I straight up, after this whole ordeal gets over with, I would straight up like hit up Hitagaya and be like, hey, we need to train, because you do ice powers and I have ice powers. Maybe I can learn something from you, or maybe you can learn something from me. I mean, it's a comrade in arms, right? So the fact that they both use ice as a medium, it just kind of is natural that you would think that it's like, all right, we're in war right now, but when all this is said and done, let's spar and let's learn from each other. She can very much kill herself when she's literally standing still and almost lost her hand. Think about if she tried to move. So there's a lot she needs to learn after this, a lot. Now, the end of the episode was actually really good as well. I'm glad they actually added this in, so then that way we kind of have an idea of what is going to be awaiting us next week. Isane and Yachiro was still in the midst of trying to help out and heal, and then Stern Ritter jumps them. And he actually revealed what his power is, that he's able to erase the memories of his existence. So here Yachiro's punching him, and then after she punched him, when he went away, she was like, wait a minute, did I actually punch someone? Wait, what happened here? So it's going to be very interesting to see his manifestation of his power when he goes invisible. He also, when he's erasing his memories off of people, like, what else can he do here? And seeing as how it's two lieutenants here, are we going to get another Bankai? Even though it is kind of in a closed space, I'm looking forward to seeing more information about Yachiro, because she's always been that elusive, unknown entity that is with Kenpachi all the time. But Kenpachi's not here, and she, of course, is in the midst of helping. Let's see her power. I mean, she's a lieutenant, right? So she definitely has to have a Shikai of some sort, and there's got to be definitely some things that happen. So I'm looking forward to some revelation about her, because we already know Isane is kind of like the backup as far as healing and doing different things. So honestly, she's been all right as a character, but Yachiro's always been the mystery. So I'm looking forward next week to see what in the world is she gonna do. And just as another thing, I'm actually looking forward to put a Byakuya as well, because he absolutely would have curb stomped Stern Ritter F with his Shikai alone. So when he actually fights someone and he has to go Bankai, man, Ooh, that's gonna be a force to reckon with. But on a good note, Ichigo's on his way, and we'll see how that goes. Finally, Ichigo's done with training, so one of these episodes we're gonna get Ichigo to come down here and join the fight as well. There was a lot of stuff in this episode that mainly revolved around Rukia, and I'm glad that Rukia has her place in the spotlight, if you will, because as one of the first characters introduced to Bleach in general, I'm glad they didn't do her dirty. She actually has a very strong power, but it's going to take a lot of training to control that power, which is a good thing because trust and believe, that is a better Bankai than some other captains and characters we've had in the show. So hats off to her. But comment down below what you guys think. Definitely make sure you guys are liking the video and make sure you guys are subscribed because we will definitely cover more Bleach and other anime here on this channel. You guys stay safe, be careful, and Lord willing, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Make sure to check out the extra content on our Patreon page, and thanks to our current patrons.
This ain't what you want, bitch, I'm a fucking phenomenon.